super excited to have you here. And I'm more than interested about your take on insomnia, because it's something that I did struggle with, and hypnosis and hypnotherapy helped me immensely. So I'm really excited to hear what you've got to share with us today. So if you'd love to, you could just hop right on in as we welcome those who are here live with us and those who are in the Facebook. If you're live in the Facebook group, do comment or comment that you're watching the replay. All right, so with that ready, you can go ahead and take on over. Thanks so much.
How many of you that are here struggle with sleep issues?
I mean, I have definitely both
John, you
hands.
probably sleep like a baby with your beautiful. He uses aromatherapy, but I didn't even really get into that. But I don't even know if he'll call it that. But how many of you guys, when you're dealing with, I mean, do you notice that your stress levels go up when you're going to deal with family or stress or anything like that? Anybody? Or you guys? Yes.
Immune.
And how? Yes, Art, you too, or no?
Yeah, I'm immune.
You're immune, right? And that's what we got that special love shot right in there that we can work with. Yes, we would like to be immune, and I'm certainly not immune, but I also want to just, if anybody is listening, go ahead and write if what it is that that bothers you about what's coming up when you're dealing with family or anything. And I'm just kind of curious, all of you guys are hypnotists, right? And how many of you have a sleep protocol that you get a super success rate that you do with your clients? Paul, are you a hypnotist? Okay, cool. And Art, so great, that's probably part of why you're here. Well, as you guys know, my name's Randi Light, and I've been hypnotizing people for 18 years now. And I've gone through my bouts of sleep issues and things like that. But what's going to happen today is going to share with you a number of things. First, a little bit about my story, and then also share with you different strategies and techniques. Some of them you already know. It's just a good reminder, because we need reminders, because when we get stressed out, we don't really remember. But I'm going to share with you how we went from being like what I would call a wounded worrier to a wise and warm-hearted warrior or woman. And also give you some ideas of things that you can do and implement immediately to help you to feel good right now and during the holiday season, and reduce that stress, as well as I want to share with you a protocol that I do with my clients for sleep and for almost everything that you could possibly imagine, almost anything that people come in for. I change the part of it a little bit, the essential four, when I do sleep but for the most part, it's pretty much, it gets such great results, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But like I said, I've been hypnotizing people for 18 years, and I started my school about 9 years ago, Enlightened Living Hypnosis Academy. One positive thing I really want to share with you, some mind-blowing thing. I worked with a medicine man when I lived in the San Diego area. And we went to the Indian reservation, Rosebud, South Dakota, for the Sundance ceremony, which is an 8-day ceremony. And it's very intense, and they do things very differently there. And somehow or another, I'm in my 20s back then, and somehow or another, I end up being in charge of this kitchen where we had to feed 300 people outdoors. And like I said, there were these spiritual rules and different things. And I had just been there before, so people just kept relying on me and things like that. All I know is I literally slept 1 hour a night for 11 nights. And I tried for 2 hours, but I couldn't, took me an hour to fall asleep. But the truth is, I was fine, completely fine during that whole time until the ceremony was over. And then it was during the giveaway. And then I thought I was, at that point, I felt like dying. But I was like, wait, what? What happened there? That was really fascinating to me. There's different things that happen when we're doing sleep. But I also, when we're dealing with sleep, we know that our conscious analytical mind goes to sleep when we're asleep. And we know 95% of our behaviors are subconscious. But even though our behaviors are subconscious, our conscious is still aware. It might be an automatic thing that happens, but you can notice it. You can stop and notice. But when you're asleep, you're asleep. So it's like a deeper subconscious program. When you have sleep issues, there's something going on. Yes, there's physiological things, but I've helped people with physiological issues that, like this one woman, she came to me because of her sleep issues. She literally felt guilty because she couldn't sleep, but she was a high achiever. She was a high achiever, super creative, ran like 3 businesses, and yet she felt guilty. She went to a bunch of sleep studies, and they tried to tell her she had sleep apnea and different things. She didn't have any of those things. But so she came to me. She started sleeping better, and we did the essential 4. But in the end, she did find out that she had some neurological thing that would wake her up. Yet hypnosis still helped. It still helped her to feel better. Now, I've done all kinds of things, and I told you I was a worrier. And so my worry kicked in irritable bowel when I was getting my master's degree in education with an environmental focus. So, I first it started as IBS. And then when I went through a 6-month, when I was really pissed off, I was 18 years ago and I was getting trained to become a hypnotist. I was so mad. And I was mad at the guy I was living with. We were together like 17 years, but he went on surgery leave and he stopped. So he didn't have to like do anything for 6 months. And I was going to school, becoming a hypnotist, and I had like 5 jobs. So I'm raising my child, and I'm stressed. I don't know all these tools yet. I haven't worked on myself the way I have today. I didn't get hypnotized yet to the level I have now. And so I was so upset because he would never make dinner. I'd always come home and he was drinking instead of making dinner. And it really pissed me off. Now, if there was no one there for me to come home and to make dinner for me, then I couldn't have had anyone to be pissed off at, right? I'm owning that, but it's a thing that I've noticed. Well, so 6 months of this went, and I'm still really mad and not saying anything. And it was my son's 12-year-old birthday party, and we had 12-year-olds come over, and my hip was hurting. I have had a lot of pain issues too over the years, but my hip was hurting. I heard about this new drug called Aleve. So I took it, and basically it cut a hole in my colon. But I believe that I would have been able to handle that external stress of taking pill if I wasn't so stressed out. So you're following me with that? We know that the mind-body connection is so important and so powerful when we realize what's going on with us. And that's why it's so important to take control of our thoughts, take control of our mindset, notice when we're feeling a certain way and do something about it. It's okay to feel all the feelings that we feel, but staying in them can make you sick, right? I've spent thousands of dollars and thousands of hours getting my mother's critical voice out of my head, learning to believe in myself even more, getting myself to another level. And I truly believe that every person on the planet would benefit from going through my Essential 4 success system because it helps with everything, not just sleep. And how many of you guys work on yourselves right now? Like, you have hired hypnotists or coaches. Exactly. And we know how powerful this stuff is. And so I just wanted to share some of that with you. So let's talk a little bit about stress, and then we're going to get into the sleep stuff. But as you guys know, stress is a perception in the brain. It's how we respond. It's what we think about is happening. We have a choice on some level, until more choice when we do the deeper healing work, right? On how we want to respond. And we could say stress is an inside job, right? We decide, oh, that's bad. Oh, that's good. We judge. And I don't even like to use those words in my life, the good and bad. I try to stick to more resourceful or useful. And one of the key most to me, one of the most effective ways to take control of your thoughts, your 60,000 thoughts, your programs, all your subconscious programs, is to set intentions. I know you've heard this before, but if you know you're going to an event, or you know you have a lot to do in a day, if you set an intention, and when you set an intention to that, I'm going to stay calm during this, I'm going to take care of myself, I'm going to do self-care, I'm going to show up at this event and be my best version of myself, whatever it is, to be happy, I want to talk to cool people. So you guys all following me? The intention thing, what outcome do you want? What purpose? How do you want to show up? Who do you want to be? And that way you're focusing on what you want instead of what you don't want. And that's one of the second most important things, right? So setting intentions and focusing on what you want. You guys have all heard this, but how many times, if you pay attention to when you are saying things that you don't want to happen, right? Is that so-and-so going to be there? Is he going to, blah, 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 whatever we say in our minds. If you're focusing on what you don't want, you can kick in the fight or flight response right then and there and release stress chemicals that make you feel bad. And then you don't have any cognitive functioning, or not as much, to be resourceful, right? So setting intentions, focusing on what you want instead of what you don't want. And if you do those two things, you're on a really good path, but you got to do them. Because it takes one negative thought to kick in the fight or flight response. I mean, one negative thought can kick in the fight, flight, freeze, or appease response. So these are ways that you can be prepared. I just received this card in the mail, and from a client, and she just wrote, "I want to wish you a happy holiday season and thank you for all your help this year. I marvel in thought at my mental well-being you have allowed me to experience through your work and guidance." She never thought she could achieve that. And that's what we can do. And not just for sleep, but for everything. So focus on what you want, set your intentions. And one of the ways you can do both of those things is to ask yourself resourceful questions. Right? Like, what can I do about this? What can I do about this? What do I believe right now that's making me feel this way? What do I believe? When you ask yourself, what can I do about this? Well, then you're giving yourself a choice of, oh, I can leave the room. So let's pretend you're at the holiday event, right? One of my favorite things to do, if I'm sick of the adults, because they're you-know-whats, and family, I mean, I see my family like once a year. So we're going to see them on Sunday, and we have different political views. We have, so we know how to navigate on some level, but what I have noticed is I will go play with the kids. Right? Why do I need to, like, I love playing with kids anyway, but that's going to change. You're going to change what you're focusing on. You're going to have a completely different experience just getting up from wherever you are, changing your environment, changing your physiology is going to do some of those things. And on the way to go play with the kids, you can do little things. You can do breathing, the double or triple breath in through the nose, and relaxing and telling yourself you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I love myself anyway. I give myself grace, even if you just barked at someone. I do not like being barked at, yelled at, or somebody. I don't like when somebody criticizes me, but I have a level of love for myself now. With family, you can get triggered at that moment, but then you can notice it and get yourself back into a state and ask yourself questions like, what am I feeling right now? What can I do about this? Well, you could say something, or you could get up and go do something else, right? You guys are all with me. So another thing that I really like to do nothing to do with actually the family thing or holiday thing, but is to something I figured out along the way is to you could think about like what would make your future self happy. So for example, like if I've had a bunch of clients and now I'm exhausted and I didn't write down everything I did with them, I like to write down everything I did with my clients. So if I didn't, write it down, then I am effing with my future self. Because the next time I go to find that file and look at it, I'm like, what did I do with them? And I won't know. And for me, that's not cool. So I ask myself, like, what would make my future self happy? Sometimes I'm like, sorry, future self, I'm too tired to do anything. You'll deal with it in the morning. But if I've cleaned up my room and my healing room and it's ready for the next morning, I made my future self very happy. I've had psychotherapists that have come and they don't know, they don't want to fill out all the forms at the end of their day or whatever, and that really helps. What would make your future self happy? And then you're being there for yourself. You have your back. Now, I believe it's very, very important that you don't criticize yourself, and that if you do, you catch it and you change it to something positive and truth. I believe when you stop the criticism, the self-criticism, you're there for yourself. And if someone says something icky or nasty, you realize that's about them. They're in a mood or they're being an ass or they are the ones with an issue, right? But if you are criticizing yourself or feeling guilty, which is turning against yourself, then you got issue. Then you might take what other people say more personally. I taught these kids in my community this summer. I did a peak performance class for them. It was an outdoor camp, and I just went and did it for a couple of hours, and because I love working with kids. But I've heard that they literally took some of the things I suggested, and they said if somebody, so what I had told them, I didn't even remember I told them, but it's so beautiful that these littles would do this. But it was like, if somebody says something rude or mean, and instead of you taking it personally, you look at them and you're like, are you okay? Are you feeling okay right now? Are you okay? Right? Because they're not okay if they're attacking someone. They're in a negative state. And I had a girlfriend who passed this summer, but she always used to say this. She always, like when her in-law would say this, she would say, did you really mean to say that out loud? That's kind of funny. Did you really mean to say that out loud? And I love that. If we could just have those quick-witted, fun things ready to go. But that means that you need to set your intentions. And if you're stressed because you have 10 million things to do, then what can you do? How do you prepare for that? What can you do to prepare for that? And it isn't like doing 10 million more things, it's delegating and whatever else is important to you. Does all that make sense, you guys?
Mhm.
So you want to be prepared, right? That's basically what we want. And so let me switch over to, and we can get back to this if anyone has any questions or things they want to add, but to the sleep one. And so I just to sleep, to share with you some of the things I do to help my clients sleep. And you guys, if you have sleep issues, but I want to share this. So let's see if I can do it. And then you should be able to hear this. Okay, okay, here we go. But I can't see you guys at the same time. It's like I get it all organized and then it's not there. I wanted to share with you this testimonial So I'll share it with you. You guys know who Joseph Anesta is? So he's a hypnotist, and he was at the Mid-America Hypnosis Conference, and he was in my class for anxiety, depression, insomnia gone. So I did a demonstration that I'm going to talk about with you guys today on the insomnia portion. And he was my volunteer. And so I took him through this process that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. And so that night, that was a Friday night, he fell asleep at 6:30 and he slept 12 hours, something. He slept incredible. He used to wake up all the time. So then the next night he went to bed early, or he went to take a nap. That's what he used to do at 6 or 6:30, take a nap, not sleep through the night. So he went to bed at 6 or 6:30, not thinking he was going to be asleep, just taking a nap. And he freaking slept through his award. So he got a hypnosis award, and he wasn't even at the dinner because he slept through it. So yes, it was so wonderful. We did this as a demo, and it was a short and quick, but it still was obviously very powerful in helping him. And now he sleeps great. So I have a short testimonial and a long testimonial that I wanted to just share with you. And I even had this client that has Parkinson's, and he was getting up, and this is recent, every hour to go to the bathroom, to urinate, basically. And after a hypnosis session, he went to 2 hours instead. So that he cut his time going to the bathroom in half. And so he started to get into REM sleep and feeling so much better. And so what I love to do with everybody on the first session, and I'm going to bring this up because I think it's crucial, but if you want to work with me privately, which I encourage all of you to do, especially if you have sleep issues, is you have to sign an agreement to promise to stop self-criticism. To have your back, to be there for yourself, because that is crucial to your own healing and transformation and feeling safe and loved. So you sign an agreement to promise to stop self-criticism. So that's part of the whole process. But on the first session that I do with most of my clients, pretty much every single one that walks in the door, I hypnotize. It's a 2-hour session, and I teach them a lot. But I also then hypnotize them, and I have them, I do the induction where I'm counting backwards from 10 down to 1. And then at 5, I have them imagine, it's a type of progressive relaxation, but I have them imagine a soothing, healing, relaxing energy. Not just whatever people say, like a soothing, relaxing, healing energy. Right? So many people need healing, and they can decide whatever that is, and they imagine that, and I go through the whole body of the soothing, healing, relaxing energy. So, and that is great for everyone because the analyzers are very busy, right? I'm counting backwards, then I'm having them imagine this. I'm doing all kinds of things going back and forth. So they're actually relaxing. When I had this guy and I'm hypnotizing him, he had been in a horrendous, traumatic, I don't even know. All I know is one person died, his leg got chopped off, major trauma, murder scene thing in California. So he hasn't slept more than 2 hours for 5 years. 2 hours a night for 5 years. So he comes to me. I'm doing that soothing, healing, relaxing energy induction that I'm counting backwards, and he's twitching. And he's embarrassed that he's twitching. So I probably said something like that. That means you're relaxing. That's great. And so anyway, I do this confidence building, help you reduce the stress, respond more resourcefully to the world, do a little bit of emotional clearing in a light and easy way so we can have a great hypnotic experience. He comes back a week later, and he had 2 12-hour sleeps. And all we did was part of it is just getting them into hypnosis, getting them to feel comfortable to relax. I mean, sometimes that's it. I do have them imagine that soothing, healing, relaxing energy. I do the confidence building and helping them respond resourcefully to the world. But the one thing I do say as right after the induction is, imagine leaving here today with this wonderful feeling of well-being, and that well-being staying with you through the rest of the day and into the evening. And then imagine yourself falling asleep tonight easily and quickly and sleeping wonderfully through the night. And notice if you were to wake up, you fall back to sleep easily and quickly. And then imagine yourself waking up in the morning absolutely refreshed and alert and ready to start your day in a whole new way. And when you've imagined all of that, nod your head to let me know. So almost all the time they can imagine that. And that's it. That's all I do for sleep. And some people's sleep gets better just from doing that. They start to remember who they are. It resets their systems. It melts the stress. I've had people who were like, I never tell people to go off their meds. That's not up to me. They have to work that out with their doctors and stuff. But I had this one person, she just stopped taking them, and she had been like raped 5 years before, or, however many years it was. And she hadn't been sleeping since then. She stopped taking them and she was fine. And I was like, wait, what? I figured that your body would have to relearn how to sleep without the drugs. But a lot of my clients who just decide to go off of, they sleep. But like the ones that have a harder time, of course, I let them know that their bodies needs to be retrained, right? And that can happen. But I give all of my clients a hypnosis audio for sleep. And anybody, like if you guys want one, you can reach out to me at randylight@gmail.com. That's Randy with an I, randylight@gmail.com. But for those that are here, if you want the hypnosis audio for sleep, then, put in the chat your email address. And and whether you're listening to this live or in the recording, and I'll send you the hypnosis audio for sleep that you can listen to. Because the whole idea is to just press play. And we know that beta, alpha, theta, delta, right? Everyone knows the brainwave states. And whenever you get focused on a book, a movie, a project, your brainwaves automatically slow down. When you're listening to hypnosis audio or anything, your brainwaves start to slow down. But then when we get you through alpha and theta, which you're programmable at that time because you're in hypnosis, we want to get people to delta. And that's the best way when you're focused on something. But you can't be focused on go to sleep now, go to sleep now. Now's time to go to sleep, right? That's not going to do it. And I call it, I can sleep in your body. I can sleep and my body is healing, because it takes them through a process that can heal their body. But it doesn't take them out of hypnosis. So it helps them fall back to sleep. It used to drive me crazy when I was listening to one for sleep, and then it would say 1 to 5, open your eyes, energize. I'm like, it's not going to be asleep. So it just lets you drift off to natural sleep. It gets, into delta, but you got to press play. You got to have it ready. So how many of you guys do that right now, that you offer a hypnosis audio for sleep for your clients? Good. I mean, and that helps, but you can, help them get to the root cause. And that's what I do on the second session, even if they've been sleeping great. If I get a lot of people, and I believe that they're all sort of connected, anxiety, depression, insomnia, right? It seems like they're all, and chronic pain. And that's why I specialize in all of them. I get them all, and I have people that you help them sleep better, but they come in also with rheumatoid arthritis or their Parkinson's, and then they start to get better, right? They start to maintain a good level. The rheumatoid arthritis woman, we never even did anything, quote unquote, for pain relief, only emotional clearing. So part of the Essential Four, and this is the book, this is the Essential Four. So like that first session that I do with everyone is in here, but the second session is uh, doing regression to the root cause of the dominant negative emotion, the affect bridge regression technique. But I do it different than other people. And I've added some things I call hypnotic enhancers, which I believe make the change even deeper and more profound and on the cellular level. Literally, I had this client earlier today who her brother would sexually abuse her when they were younger, and she thought she would never ever get over it. So I hadn't seen her in like 5, 6, 7 years, but she never thought she'd get over that. And we did it for sleep because it affected her sleep. And she was saying she just can't believe that it's like a neutral thing when she thinks of him, and she feels safe when she goes to sleep at night. So we had to work on some other stuff, but she was sharing that today, how neutral it's become and how profound. And I mean, what a gift, right? So how many of you guys do the affect bridge regression with your clients right now? Anybody? So the affect is just emotion. It's an emotional bridge because your subconscious can follow a feeling back in time to the source, the root cause when that feeling began. So I don't like to do regression on the first session. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, but I like to build their confidence, strengthen their ego, help them respond resourcefully to the world. They're not always ready for regression. And they have to promise to be there for their younger self. And that's my new recent thing. Like, I won't do regression unless they make that promise to be there for their younger self, because, if they're mad at what that younger self did or didn't do, that's not cool. They're little. I've had people who were 3 years old and they felt guilty because they couldn't help their mother who was being murdered above them. Right? If I would have loved to have had a 3-year-old walk in my office at that moment and then look at that 3-year-old, and then they would be like, oh, and just love up that 3-year-old. But so when I do regression, we pick a memory. This is just general. And then because I need to sort of set the stage for how I do it for the sleep one. But if they're anxious, then if they're in general anxious, then you can just do regression to the root cause of the anxiety. And a lot of times that will clear up the sleep issues. But you just pick a memory in the recent past. You have them pick a memory in the recent past when they felt that negative feeling. And it could be yesterday or a few weeks ago, and it doesn't even matter which one they pick. But since the subconscious can follow a feeling back in time to the source, to the root cause, you just pick that memory in the recent past when they felt that feeling. And then you take them back to the source, the root cause, to the very first time they felt that feeling. Many times people will go back to a memory that needs healing, and I tell them this, and it's very common. But we first go all the way back to the source, the root cause, the first time they ever felt that feeling. If you want to learn the affect bridge technique, and if you want to use the hypnotic cancers and stuff, I have trainings on it. Just reach out to me. But I'm going to do my best to share a little bit with it so you can do it. Basically, you're doing inner child work. And whenever you do inner child work, I put it into a acronym, BURP your clients. Is that an acronym? BERP. So here's what you're going to do. No matter what, when you're doing inner child work, I always encourage you to remember to do this, and not in any particular order, just burp your clients. And the B stands for beliefs. You want to know what beliefs they were created as a result of it, right? We all draw conclusions. You're drawing a conclusion right now about me, about this presentation, about what's going to happen next week, and holiday events. But So B stands for beliefs. You want to know what beliefs were created because then you can change them. And you want to know what emotions they're feeling. And all the emotions can change through each of the memories that pop in, but we want to know what they're feeling, what emotions they're feeling. That's the E. And then I believe it's really awesome and important and a great opportunity for you to give them resources like courage, strength, love, peace, patience, whatever they need. And it's really cool to go to right before this scene that you're burping them, that you're helping them to neutralize or even become empowered. Because why limit it to neutral if it empowers them? But some people can only handle neutral, and that's completely fine, but I don't want to limit it. So B is beliefs, want to know what they believe. E is for emotions. R is the resources. You want to give them resources. So if you go before that moment happened and they have the resources and you, the adult there, you're giving them resources, strength, courage, whatever they need to get through that memory so it's neutral or empowering. And however they can imagine it being downloaded or like a superpower or a superpower cape or however it is, they're filled up with a color, a symbol. And then the P is positive learnings. I believe that's one of the keys is to help them discover positive learnings. I had a client who I think when somebody died when he was little, and he decided the positive learning was it's okay to lose someone, or it's okay to lose someone. I would never have come up with that. Like I've written a whole bunch of positive learnings, and I can help them. Like, the easy one for us to share with them is that they changed the pattern. They broke the pattern, right? They didn't continue doing whatever that negative thing was, or that they learned how to not be. But it can go way deeper. And when they have the resources and they change the beliefs and they take positive learnings, that scene, when they think of it, becomes neutral or empowering. And then I call it a quantum healing. I like to play a song during that time to really help them. I always have them bring the adult self to be with that younger self, even get that younger self out of there wherever it is, whether it's traumatic or not traumatic. So I had this guy, I always tell this story, and I tell this to my clients and my students, but he had written that he felt stuck on the intake form and that he carried a lot of guilt. He had PTSD, and he was diabetic, overweight. So when I did regression with him to the root cause of his guilt, he went back to when he was 4. And when he was 4, he had a cold and he had a baby brother that he loved and adored, but the baby was very, very sick. And so all the adults told the little 4-year-old, you've got this cold, the baby's really sick. Don't visit the baby because he could die. Well, he visited the baby because he loved his baby brother, and the baby died. So he carried the belief for 60 years that he killed his baby brother until we did this work. And you can bring the adult awareness into that 4-year-old's perspective of the world that lives inside us. We all have a 4-year-old that lives inside of us. They're not all wounded, but we all have a 4-year-old. So you bring that adult awareness, help that 4-year-old understand the truth. It releases the stored emotions from the body, create a new belief, take new positive learnings, and all the memories and subsequent memories linked to that event, they get healed, they get reevaluated. A quantum healing takes place. So that you can go out into the future without all that baggage. The next time you feel a negative feeling, all those memories don't come flooding in, so you can get out of that negative state much faster, easier, and quicker. I'm a big believer in regression. I believe it's the most profound and powerful tool a hypnotist has in their toolbox. We're one of the few people who can do it so well and make such transformation. Like she's also a friend who was here earlier who said, never believed in a million years she would ever be able to get over what her brother did to her, ever. And she couldn't believe it, and she was so grateful. So do you all understand that so far? The book has scripts and outlines and ways to handle the regression in here. And like I said, you can learn it. You can reach out to me and you can start learning it tomorrow because I have it all on video, and you can also come to live training. But what I want to share with you how I do it for sleep. And it is, I didn't come up with the idea, and not that you have to do it, but it is so profound in helping your clients notice the change. That's my favorite part. When the work you're doing, they notice that they're better in that moment. So remember, on the first session will say, imagine yourself with that wonderful feeling of well-being and falling asleep easily and quickly. Every once in a while, they can't do that. And all that does is tell you a lot of information. Everything is information, but most people can imagine that. So with the sleep one, I'm going to do the regression, but before I hypnotize them, I'll take a pen and paper and we'll take them through a process. I will have them do it consciously. So I'll take them I'll ask them to pick a night where they had a terrible night's sleep. And I'll know a little bit about them, like around what time they go to bed and things like that. And so I'll prompt them, and let's just pretend it's like 10 o'clock. And so I have them immerse themselves as if it's happening right now, but they're not in hypnosis. They're just eyes closed. Because I want them to know what they're feeling. And nobody ever knows what they're feeling because no one taught us what we're feeling half the time. And so what you think, for you, what anxiety is, and for me could be very different, right? Or frustration or whatever it is. But so we go to the night they're having a really difficult night's sleep. And so it's around 10 o'clock and I find out what they're doing. Some will say they're brushing their teeth. Some will say they're in bed reading. But I want them to tell me in like 3 words. It's around 10 o'clock. What are you doing? But I want to know what emotion they're feeling and even what they believe. So I'll write that down and then I'll say, okay, it's depending on if I know that they usually fall asleep quickly, but then wake up, or if they don't fall asleep, then that determines what I say. But these are just markers. So I'll say it's like 10:30. Are you asleep or awake? Awake. What are you doing? In like 3 words. What are you feeling? Okay, it's 11. I'll go about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, unless I know it's around the time that they usually wake up, unwanted wake up. Are you guys understanding? So I'll go through each hour or half hour, depending on what time it is, and ask them if they're asleep or awake and what they're feeling. And I go through the whole night until they get up. What they're asleep, awake, and what they're feeling and what they're doing. So then I will hypnotize them and take them to that night. But what I'll do, it's like 10 o'clock, they're in bed. What are you feeling? So what I do is I will regress them back to the root cause of the first negative emotion that comes up. Whether it's anxiety, most of the time it's frustration, angst, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's the same protocol. So I will regress them back in time to the source, the root cause of that emotion. And remember, sometimes people go back to a memory that needs healing. It's not necessarily the root cause, but we get them all the way back to the source, the root cause, burp them, right? Beliefs, emotions, give them resources, take positive learnings, bring that adult awareness to help them to feel a lot better, to know that they're a team now and they can work together and take care of each other. And so then the quantum healing takes place. And if there were memories that came up, we'll go through those and burp them as well and take them back to the recent scene when they felt the feeling, when they had that difficult night's sleep. And what usually happens is you say it's 10 o'clock, you sleep awake. What are you feeling? I'm relaxed. I mean, like they already start to change. Are you asleep or awake? Awake. Okay, 10:30. Are you asleep or awake? Asleep. 11:30. Are you asleep or awake? Asleep. 12:30. Are you asleep or awake? Asleep. 1:30. You asleep or awake? Getting up to use the bathroom. 2 o'clock. Asleep or awake? Asleep. And you go through the whole night. And so it shows them that something shifted for them.
Hmm.
And I always future pace. So I'll always take them out to their future and have them when it's sleep, I'll take them no matter what. When it's regression, I'll do 1 month and 6 months. And then I have them get a message from their future self and then merge. But when I'm doing it for sleep, I will also have them go through a week right in the here and now. So they're mentally rehearsing, practicing in their mind, going to sleep, sleeping through the night, waking up in the morning, ready to start their day in a whole new way. And I'll have them go through like a week, 7 days as well. So that is, in essence, that's part of, that's the second session of the Essential Four. And those things really, really help people. But I also like to then give them another opportunity to do timeline therapy. And that gives them an opportunity to get to the root cause of a dominant limiting belief. And if there's memories of like shit that went down, like you can move that into your timeline, blast it out, change it, and change beliefs. Because we all usually have some BS, right? Some bullshit and belief systems that get in our way. And when you can rearrange help people rearrange their timelines because we do it subconsciously. And this helps them sleep so much better, believe in themselves more. And then I like to do forgiveness work. And I think that, Melanie, that's how you and I met, right? In my forgiveness thing. It just, all of this helps them in so many ways. And then they sleep better, they feel better, they've made peace with themselves and life, God, whatever it is that their beliefs are. We know that sleep is so subconscious. When my ex was, and when I knew we finally decided it was over and he was going to be moving out, but he was living with me for 6 months. We were still living together. And oh my God, like when I was asleep, I was clenching in my jaws, right? Like I could not do that because I was asleep, right? So it's all communication. If you're having sleep issues, we know it's that they have deeper work to do. And that's what people don't realize. They think it's, sleep is the most one that we know because your conscious mind is asleep and you can help them so much. So I think I've covered a lot, to remember to set your intentions, to ask yourself resourceful questions, to ask yourself about what your future self would want, like how to help your future self, love yourself. You can take my love yourself quiz, work on yourself so you can sleep. And if you want a hypnosis audio for sleep, you can get that. If you want training, I can work with you. I do have a cool thing coming up I wanted to share with you guys as well. At the end of the January, create your best year yet. One of the aspects is of creating a vision board, and it's online. I mean, I'm doing it in person the day before, but it's an online live event. but it's way more because vision boards is a way of programming and reprogramming your subconscious, right? It's the language of the subconscious, but we're also going to get obviously do hypnosis to reprogram but goal setting mastery, right? So you can really tap into your why, what you want, your purpose, your energy. It's a whole subconscious programming too with this goal setting and mastery. And the three of it, it's just a really fun, simple thing. And it's really profound. It can help you, have a great year. It's called Create Your Best Year Yet. So should I put those things in the chat? Is that what it? And
Please do put them in the chat, and the video in the group, you can also drop it in the comments on the live stream so that those who are watching can access what it is you're offering.
I'm not sure I was heard exactly what you guys said. So if any of you guys meeting group chats, can you guys see that? Randi Light at Gmail, hypnosis training. There we go.
There
Here we
it is.
go.
Awesome.
I copied and pasted and had it all ready and wondered if it would still do it, and it did it.
Yes.
Yeah, so reach out to me. I've got lots of free resources on my website too. And if you want to learn how to do this regression thing and the sleep thing, we know that millions and millions of people have sleep issues, and you can help.
True. Yeah, insomnia is I just always say treat sleep like your life depends on it, because it does, right? And I just get this pasted for you. And I'm sure that this time of year, it's worse for people because of exactly what you mentioned. The when your stress is going up because you've got to think about the family members that part of you feels guilty for not wanting to go see, or whatever the things are, whatever's coming up. That kind of stuff definitely gets us in the middle of the night, right? It just wakes you up. You're like, what's this about? And it goes way, way, way back. There's an origin of that feeling. So yeah, thank you for giving the description of the couple of things that I heard you say you do with your clients, not just the first session, but on the second. That was excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Art, what do you get?
One of the things I do with clients is I don't want to make stress a bad word for them, as to differentiate between distress and eustress.
Right.
And I do a sailboat analogy to kind of illustrate how that works. But then I ask them a question. I say, what do you think you would do if you felt absolutely no stress whatsoever in your life? What would you do? The answer to the question is nothing. I would stay in bed. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't get up. I wouldn't. So stress, that's what gets you out of bed, gets you going. You're trying to achieve something that you feel, there's a need there that's generated some energy for you to take. And if you felt none of that, you'd be a vegetable, you wouldn't. So I want to make stress something that can be their friend if they manage it well. And I do a lot of work with sailboat analogies about what kind of sailboat are you? Are you a little pumpkin seed or something? Or are you one of those big three-masted schooners? And it makes a difference between what kind of sea you can get out on, depending on what kind of boat you are. So you need to do a little bit of self-analysis of what kind of a sailboat am I? And that tells me what kind of waters I can sail in. If you're a little tiny one, you better sail close to shore, or watch the weather real closely, because you're not capable of adapting. But if you're a three-masted schooner, you're not going anywhere very fast, but you're never going to turn over. You're just going to slosh through. It won't be pretty, but you'll get there. So I want them to do a little bit of better understanding about what their system is like, because some of us, I'm afraid what's happening now, some of us are born with systems that are so temperamental that they can't handle the stress of modern life, and they suicide out because they just can't do it. I mean, it's overwhelming to them. And so it's real important, I think, for people to begin to get a handle on their capabilities and work in the area that they can handle well, that they can succeed in, and not try to go for something they're incapable of doing. Anyway, just a thought.
Paul, did you want to say something too? Thanks, Art.
Yeah.
Paul, I didn't know you were in Chicago. You know, I am doing the live event, Create Your Best Year Yet, on Saturday in Michigan City.
Cool.
I don't
That's
know if
cool.
you're interested, but
Into it. Yeah, I have a different take on arts, metaphor about
Mm-hmm.
stress, because I always hear, oh, stress. Well, on the positive side, it's excitement, which I translate as being kind of like joy. It's kind of it's stimulating and it's joy. Or I also see stress as being fear and terror. So, I just um, it seems to have it has a double meaning for me,
Mm-hmm.
stress in general.
I think isn't everything, right? I mean, some people, I always say, like, okay, so how much anxiety do you need in order to trust that you're going to, take care of, studying, right? So when I work with kids and stuff, it's like, okay, well, how much of that do you need so we can turn that down? Like, you
Mm-hmm.
don't need a ton of anxiety to make sure that you're going to study for your test, right? And so they start to
Mm-hmm.
realize that we don't need this full blown out level, and then their body, it affects you, and obviously more than others. And we do know that it's the same physiological thing if you're excited about something or nervous about something, right? Physiologically, it's just, what are you deciding, what are you concluding?
Mm-hmm.
Is it,
I,
oh,
I,
I'm
I feel
excited?
them. I feel them differently. You know, I feel it differently. Like when I'm playing tennis sometimes, well, back in the old days, and I'm really into the game and I'm feeling, oh God, am I gonna get this point or not? Kind of stuff. And there's a joy there. But then when I say, oh man, I can't get the shot, kind of stuff, and I'm stressed out, it's more fear and a bit of regret. So I don't want to fine tune it too much about that. But
Mm-hmm.
Everybody
fear and
looks
joy,
at it
fear
differently.
and joy are like two different emotions, and I
Mm-hmm.
think both of them, you know, can involve stress. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
and there's something else too. Something else here too, because I've developed insomnia, and I can't really pinpoint it back. I mean, you had a quartet of problems. There's anxiety, depression,
Insomnia,
lack of
chronic
memory,
pain.
yeah, insomnia, right, and chronic pain. Now, I've got chronic pain, and I think that's kind of tied into the sleeplessness. Because when I go to sleep, I'm not ruminating over something that's really stressful. I'm not worried about tomorrow, but I just can't get the goddamn sleep without having, and I've been relying on Ambien, and of course, like one of my big worries is, oh, I'm not going to have enough Ambien left, until I get a refill, kind of thing. What am I going to do? If I take it, because if I'm feeling sick or something, I can't sleep, so I'll take half a pill or something like that. But
Well, Paul, if you guys, this is what I've been offering, because I've done a few presentations over the last couple weeks, but like I'm offering $100 off of a session with me, or
oh,
200 off the essential four. So if you
okay,
want to get to the root cause, reach
right,
out to me.
right,
So that's to all of you,
because
not
that's a
just to
new thing.
Paul.
That's a new thing, because I tell you one thing as an aside, I feel so shortchanged in the morning if I cannot remember a dream.
Mm-hmm.
I really look forward to having a dream and then being able to record it in the morning. And also, Randy, I saw a presentation of yours maybe 3 years ago or so at the Midwest conference, and I was very impressed. I will say that. I think it was letting go of resentments or something, and you had a really pretty long journey, after, you had an induction, you had a kind of a long guided meditation and something. And I just want to say I was very impressed with it. And I'm very impressed with what you said tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you reach out, Paul, so you can start feeling better and get to sleep. And chronic pain goes, I mean, I worked with this kid who had fibromyalgia and depression. and she had to quit college because she was in so much pain. And I did that first session with her of the Essential Four, and I asked her what her pain level was before we started, just because, even though we weren't working on pain relief, she said a 6, and at the end it was 0, and her fibromyalgia went into remission. I mean, it's worth it, but it's your choice. But it sucks. I know, because I've dealt with a lot of pain and insomnia, and I love hypnosis. So I'm gonna put a word in.
I've been hypnotized by no less than 3 hypnotists for my pain. And I'm still, hopefully, and one was just today. It's like, so hopefully I won't be walking down the street and going, damn it, I can't wait to find the next place I can sit down, because it really fucking hurts. 2 failed spine surgeries along the way and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, thank you. It's worth exploring, and I'm really glad that I heard you tonight. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you
Welcome.
so much. And those of you who are out there, I know you've appreciate what you've heard today. Please do drop your appreciation and any additional questions you have for Randi. I've put her contact details in the post already on Facebook. So if you're watching this replay, you might have to look through the comments a bit till you find it. Yes, Art?
I just wondered if we wanted to get the Essential Four book, do we buy it from you or Amazon, or do you care where we get it for that?
Either one is fine. Yeah. I can send it to you, or you can do it on Amazon, whatever. They might send it faster. I don't know.
Okay,
Especially this time of year, right?
good. Thank
Just
you.
reach out and we can talk about it. It's a good book. It's very thorough. It's got scripts, and it's got outlines, and it's got troubleshooting. So if you're super
Wow.
intuitive, you can
Good
follow
stuff.
it. But if
Yeah.
you might need, getting trained in regression, if you aren't, it would be beneficial, but that's a separate thing that you can come to.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, Randi will also be joining us for World Hypnotism Day. We are proud to be working in partnership with Patricia Scott, who's been running. I think she's been doing it for 20 years.
21.
21.
21 years. I've been with her every year for 21 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so excited for us all to be together on World Hypnotism Day. So I've dropped it in the chat here for those of you who are here to make sure you register. The whole theme is collaboration. So we're starting out with with Sean. Do you guys call yourself the Hypno Goddesses, or is that just what Sean came up with? What, Randi?
I call us Hypno Goddesses.
Okay, good. Cool.
And our chat says Hypno Goddesses.
Excellent.
I mean, and if you look up, it's such a beautiful, and there 5 beautiful women have come together, and we're all going to be sharing our love and what we experience when we're together and collaborating, and it's very
So Paul
powerful.
and I get to be the Hypno Guides. Is that who we are then? Right. Okay. I like it.
That's harder to say, isn't it? Hypno God, but goddesses, we can seem to get away with Hypno Goddesses.
I might be a prince maybe instead of that.
We can have all kinds of royalty on. Awesome. Yeah. Beautiful. Excellent. Well, let me grab my little wrap up here. Thank you again so much, Randi, for what you brought tonight. I know
thank you very much.
I actually have a feeling I'm going to sleep better just because my mind, of course, worked through those things as you were describing them, as my hypnotist mind does. So thank you. Thank you.